factor a quadratic trinomial where a is not equal to 1. Here we have 12 examples of quadratic trinomials where a is not equal to 1. And I'm going to do each one of these factorings. And I invite the viewer to pause and then work ahead and see if you can factor properly, and then play ahead to see if you got it right. So the first one we have, the example 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. We're going to take this quadratic trinomial and attempt to factor it into two linear binomials. And typically what we would do is this quadratic expression on the left would be set equal to something on the right, typically 0, and you would factor on the way to solving this quadratic equation. But we're just going to concern ourselves with factoring today, and we're going to use a method that's called by two names. One thing it's called is the X method, and another thing that's called is the bottoms up. And actually both of these names are descriptive of two parts of the overall process. Well, first thing we do is look at our quadratic trinomial, and the quadratic trinomial we look to be written in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. And in this case, a is equal to 2, b is equal to negative 5, and c is equal to negative 3. And then we go ahead and make a big X. And at the top of the X, we put AC, and which would be the product of the coefficients of A and C, which are going to be 2 times negative 3 or negative 6. At the bottom, we place the B value, which is negative 5. And now what we're going to look for is two numbers. And I'm going to write LOF for list of factors, two numbers whose product is negative 6, but whose sum is negative 5. So I'm just going to write out a list of possible factors. Well, we're going to have, we could write this as negative 1 times 6 would equal negative 6, or negative 6 times 1, or negative 2 times 3, or negative 3 times 2. And then we look at these factors and add them together and see which set of these two factors added together will be negative 5. Well, it's going to be this set right here, negative 6 and 1. So I'm going to write on the left side negative 6 and the right side 1. And now we go ahead and divide each of these numbers, the one on the left by a, which is 2, and the one on the right by a, which is 2. And we simplify where we can, and negative 6 over 2 is negative 3. And now we write a set of linear binomials. We're going to write x minus 3 times quantity x plus 1/2. And on this right one is where we use the bottoms up. So this is the bottoms up part. We take this 2 and take this 2 and multiply it out front by x. And so our final answer is going to be quantity x minus 3 times quantity 2x plus 1. And if we multiply these two factors together, we're going to get our original, which we're going to have negative 6x here, and then we're going to have plus x here, which when added together equal negative 5x. So this will be our answer. So again, I invite the viewer to go ahead and pause the video, work out number 2, and then I'm going to, from this point forward, work them out pretty quickly. Okay, I just draw the big X, AC on top, which is going to be 3 times 5, which is 15. On the bottom we put B, which is negative 16. And then what two numbers, when added together, equal negative 16, but when multiplied together equal 15? Well, how about negative 1 and negative 15? When we have this B negative and the AC positive, we're going to have a negative times a negative. So we put negative 1 divided by 3. And on the right side, we have negative 15 divided by 3, which simplifies to negative 5. And so now we have x minus 5 times quantity x minus 1/3. And then we use our bottoms up with this 3. So this 3 will come up here. So what we're left with is quantity x minus 5 times quantity 3x minus 1. And this is going to be our correct answer. Okay, next, problem 3. Again, I invite the viewer to pause the video. Okay, AC. AC, negative 2 times 15 is going to be negative 30. And then we have 7 down here. So what two numbers, when added together, when multiplied together, I think 3 and 10, right? Because 3 and 10 are 7 apart. So I'm going to put 3 and 10. And so one of these is going to be negative. And I think it's going to be this negative 3 here because that's the smaller number. We're at positive. Now we divide by A, which is 15. So on the right side, 10/15 simplifies to 2/3. And on the left, negative 3/15 simplifies to negative 1/5. So now what we have is x minus 1/5 times quantity x plus 2/3. And then we use our bottoms up, we get 5x minus 1 times quantity 3x plus 2. Is that going to work out? Yeah, because we'll get negative 3x plus 10x. That's going to work out. I hope you're getting the hang of this. Now, number 4. Again, I invite you to work this out first if you can. Okay, AC. Negative 10 times 6 is negative 60. And then we have negative 7 here. What are some possible factors of negative 60? Well, 6 and 10, or 4 and 15, 5 and 12. I think 5 and 12 are going to be it because 5 and 12 are 7 apart. So I'm going to put 5 and 12. I hope that you're getting the idea of how to find these numbers. Well, again, which of these is going to be negative? Well, we have negative 7, so I think the bigger number is going to have to be negative. So I'm going to make this one negative 12 on the right, and then we divide by A, which is 6. On the right side, negative 12 over 6 simplifies to negative 2. And then we have quantity x minus 2 times quantity x plus 5/6. And using bottoms up, this x plus 5/6, we change that to 6x. plus 5. And I miswrote something here, didn't I? It's going to be x minus 2. Yeah. 6x plus 5, is that going to work out? Yes. Negative 12x plus 5x, yes. Check. Okay, let's go to number 5. Okay, same thing. AC, 4. Negative 4 times 6, negative 24. And then here we put 5. So what are your factors of negative 24? Well, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. But I'm thinking 3 and 8 because 3 and 8 are 5 apart. And then which one is going to be negative? Well, if we have positive 5, so 8 is going to be positive and 3 is going to be negative. Now we divide by 6 and simplify on the right. 8/6 simplifies to 4/3. On the left, negative 3/6 simplifies to negative 1/2. And so now we rewrite this as x minus 1/2 times quantity x plus 4/3. And so using bottoms up, we have 2x minus 1 times quantity 3x plus 4. And then we have, yes, negative 3x plus 8x. Yeah, that's going to check out. This is our correct answer. Okay, now number 6. 3a squared minus 19a plus 20. Here we're using a instead of x, but that shouldn't be any hindrance to us. So AC is going to be 3 times 20, or 60. And b is equal to negative 19. So what are our possible factors here? We're going to have a negative times a negative. So let's see. We have 3 and what about 4 and 15, right? How about negative 4 times negative 15? Because then when added together, we get our negative 19. And then we divide by a, which is 3. And on the right, we have negative 15 divided by 3, which is negative 5. On the left, we have negative 4/3. So I'm going to write this as x minus 4/3 times quantity x minus 5. Now I just made a little slip there, right? Because it's a. I'm going to fix that in our final answer here. Using bottoms up, we're going to get 3a minus 4 times quantity a minus 5. Let's make sure this works out. Yeah, that works out. Okay, next. 7. Okay, same thing. AC is 9 times 1, or 9. B is 6. What two numbers, when multiplied together, equal 9, but when added together equal 6? How about 3 and 3? And then we divide by a, which is 9. So we get 1/3 on both sides. So we have x plus 1/3 times quantity x plus 1/3. And so using our bottoms up method, we get 3x, quantity 3x plus 1 times quantity 3x plus 1. And since we have a perfect square here, we can actually rewrite this as quantity 3x plus 1 squared. So either way. Okay, next, 8. Okay, using our x, we have AC, which is 9 times 5, or 45. We have b, which is negative 18. So what are your factors of 45? It's going to be a negative times a negative. We have negative 18. So how about negative 3 times negative 15? Is that going to work out? Yes. And divide by 5. On the right side, negative 15 divided by 3 is going to be negative 15 divided by 5 is going to be negative 3. So what we have here is x minus 3/5 times quantity x minus 3. And so using bottoms up, we have 5x minus 3 times quantity x minus 3. Is that going to work out? Yeah, it's going to work out. Okay, number 9. Here we're using b as our variable. It's going to be the same concept. AC is going to be 4 times negative 9, or negative 36. And then we have 9 down here. So what are we going to be working with here? As far as 36, we have 2 times 18, or 3 times 12. And I think 3 and 12 is going to get it because they're 9 apart. So I'm going to put 3 and 12. And we have positive 9, so the 12 is going to be positive, and the 3 is going to be negative. And we divide by a, which is 4. So on the right side, we have 12 divided by 4, which is 3. So what we have here is we have quantity b minus 3/4 times quantity b plus 3. And then using bottoms up, we get 4b minus 3 times quantity b plus 3. And then we see if that works out. We get negative 3b plus 12b is 9b. That checks out. Okay, next, 10. 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So here we work out our AC. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And below we put b, which is 3. So what are your factors of negative 10? I'm thinking 2 and 5 are going to be related. So I'm going to put 2 and 5. And which one of these is going to be bigger? Well, we have negative 3, so the bigger number is going to be negative. And now we divide by a, which is 2. So on the left, we have 2 over 2, which is 1. So we have x plus 1 times quantity x minus 5/2. And now, when we use our bottoms up, we have 2x minus 5. And then we briefly see if we have it right. That's going to be plus 2x minus 5x. That checks out. Okay, number 11. Okay, so we have 4x squared plus 29x plus 30. So here we go. We have AC is 4 times 30, which is 120. And then down here we have 29. So what are the two numbers involved here? It could be like 30 times 4, but that would add to 34. How about 24 times 5? 24 and 5 add up to 29. So 24 and 5, and we divide by A, which is 4. So 24 over 4 is 6. So what we have here is x plus 6 times quantity x plus 5/4. And then that's going to be finally equal to quantity x plus 6 times quantity 4x, using bottoms up, 4x plus 5. And then if we multiply these out together, we're going to get 24x here and 5x there. So we're going to have this. Okay, now the last one, number 12, problem 12. So we go set up our x here. We put AC on top, which is 3 times negative 5, or negative 15. And the bottom, we put 14. So what two numbers are we looking for negative 15? Well, that's 3 and 5. What about 15 and 1? I think 15 and 1 is going to be it. And then we have positive 14. So 15 is going to be positive and 1 is going to be negative. Now we divide by A, which is 3. So on the left, we get 15 over 3, which is 5. So here we have A plus 5 times quantity A minus 1/3. And then using our bottoms up, we get quantity A plus 5. And then we have on the other one, we have 3A minus 1. And then we check these together, we get positive 15A minus A. So that checks out. So here are all the problems. I hope this has been helpful to you. Good luck, and thanks for viewing.